Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. If you desire to intimately connect with yourself, significant other, children, family, friends, community, and higher power, then this is the show for you. We explore intimate topics, inspiring life stories, spirituality, and insightful tips on strengthening relationships. The show is hosted by Dr. April and her co-host, Coach K. Let's get this episode of the Bringing Intimacy Back show started. We share with you today the secret power to intimacy to create the life you love or love the life you create. Now here's your host, Dr. April, and her co-host, Coach K.
Surprise, it's just me. Welcome everybody to Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real. I'm super excited about today's topic, which is wisdom is the new currency. And we all like a little currency, right? And we have Miss Mary Henderson with us today. But before I get too far into that, I want to just again welcome you to the show. And if you have not already, whatever platform you're listening to us on, make sure you subscribe or like us and interact and ask us questions throughout the show. Just like we remind everyone every single week of our charity of the month, this month is just as exciting as the rest. Our charity of the month is Women Rising. So the mission of Women Rising is to assist women and their families to achieve self-sufficiency and live safe, productive, and fulfilling lives through social services, economic development, and advocacy services. So needed in the world, of course. And what better month than to have it during Women's History Month, because we are still right in the middle of Women's History Month. So happy Women's History Month to all of you. So we're going to be talking to Miss Mary Henderson today. And Mary is a transformational leader and internationally recognized personal branding and online business strategist. Listen to this, because this is what tripped me out. And you guys are going to get to learn a little bit about this, but she's from the future. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Mary helps industry experts systemize, digitalize, and commercialize their knowledge, wisdom, and skills into a scalable and profitable online business and brand so they become an authority in their niche or industry. So Mary's point of difference is her personal branding technology, a SaaS, SaaS platform that has the ability to define a person's brand essence with precision that can be applied across all communication touch points. Mary is a heart-centered, compassionate, and tenacious entrepreneur who thrives on human transformation and witnessing people fulfill their dreams. So can you imagine how amazing this show is going to be today, where we're going to be talking about wisdom is the new currency. And when we come back from this commercial, she's going to join us again from the future. And I want you to really think about that title, Wisdom is the New Currency. We'll be right back on here. So grab your drink, go potty break, whatever. And we'll be right back with Miss Mary Henderson.
Learn to cultivate a deeper connection with yourself and your inner spirit in order to further manifest a more fulfilling, intimate life. Find your purpose in life, develop unwavering confidence, heal your inner child, and authentically live this purpose every day. It starts with you. Couldn't be further from the truth. Intimacy is not taboo, nor should it cost a fortune. Get your copy today. It Starts With You is available on Amazon, Audible, and
Well, welcome back to Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real, where we are now joined by Mary Henderson. Welcome. And we played a trick on you. We have you muted. Ha. So the one thing that we always ask right before we get started, because, it's all about bringing intimacy back, is what does intimacy mean to you?
Oh, first of all, Kay, thank you for having me. This is such an honor to be on this show. I'm actually really excited as well. Intimacy is the relationship I have with myself. It's the relationship I have with my soul. It's the relationship that I have with my mind. It's the relationship that I have with God. And it's the relationship that I have with the people around me. But it all starts with me and my inner self. And, and I want to go one step further. And I say this all the time, but, and it really is connected to intimacy, that I protect my mind and my soul at all costs to maintain that intimacy within my soul, because after all, it's the soul that delivers, if you want to call it, the law of attraction in my life. It's that aspect of myself that's creating the experiences around me. So if I ain't got it right, nothing's going to go right around me.
Oh, absolutely. I love, love, love the explanation that you're getting. We'll just say hey to Wayne Dingle there, who said hello to both of us.
Thank you.
But that detail, even the passion behind it that you gave, is just, ooh, it goes through you. So before we dive deep into the wisdom is the new currency, I kind of told everybody your secret that you were from the future, but I think you can fill them in on what we actually mean by that.
I think that they've figured out through my accent that I'm definitely not from the United States or even Canada, but I'm from Australia in Melbourne, and I am one day ahead. So, hello from the future.
And you all know I get excited about when amazing things happen. So when she said it, I was like, oh my gracious. And I was the only one that even thought about asking about lottery numbers, but
Yeah.
she doesn't have them. So we have some amazing wisdom is the new currency. I would
Mhm.
love for you just to touch on that and give that understanding to what that means.
Yeah, I would love to. We are in an information age, even though a lot of people say we're in the information economy. I disagree with that completely. I think that we're in the information age, but we're in the wisdom economy. And the reason I say that is because, Kay, look at the world that we're living in. It's in complete chaos. And every industry, every niche, every government department, every corporation, even individuals are all impacted by something, or some crisis, or some trauma for that matter. And and the only way that we can solve any complex issue in the world is through wisdom. You can't solve it through reading three books. You can't solve it through information, as in AI system producing all this information. The only way we can solve it is actually through learned knowledge and skills, which converts into your wisdom. But the part about the wisdom is your currency, and this is really important, is, and this really blows people away when I say it like this. If you have a look at let's say, your professional life, and let's say you have 20 years experience in the finance game, or sales, or marketing, or law, it doesn't matter what it is. Just think about this for a moment. 20 years is equivalent to about 20,000 hours of expertise. So that's 20,000 hours of your life that you have dedicated to learning very specific knowledge and skills. Now, let's put an hourly rate to 20,000 hours. And let's just say, let's be conservative and say $100 an hour. You're sitting on a multi-million dollar gold mine. And the question is, what are we doing with it? Because I know a lot of people with wisdom, and they're just sitting on it. They're sitting on the fence. It's too hard. It's fearful. What if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? Everybody will laugh at me. And what I'm saying is, hang on a minute, but the world's will actually need you. And in fact, it needs you right now, because we are in the thick of this wisdom economy, where the holders of wisdom will be the ones that will be called in to solve the complex problems,
Mhm.
and are actually sitting on some serious, serious currency. And that's my definition.
I love that breakdown, especially when you put that, that dollar amount to the
Mhm.
years that you've put into learning and acquiring. Many people sit at work and they're just like, but take all that knowledge in. So speaking of that, what made you resign from your company and say, hey, I need to do this thing? And tell us a little bit about that backstory.
Oh, yes, that's an amazing backstory, actually. So, I've come from the corporate background. I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2005. So, I would be considered a veteran entrepreneur now. But, back then in 2005, I was very ambitious. I'm still ambitious, but in a different way. And back then, it's just like when you start that journey, it can be very reactive if you're not if you haven't got the right guidance, if you don't have the right tribe, the right mentorship. And I actually didn't have any of that. And that was something that I would change if I went back and did it all over again. Nevertheless, I built a software company where we specialize in building membership systems, web-based membership systems for the academic sector, which is essentially, like online learning management systems along that line. And I had that business for 7 years, Kate. And I will tell you that almost every day of the last 3 years of that business, it was an uphill battle. I really hated going to my own company that I built from ground up. I know the word hate's very strong, but honestly, I can't find another word to describe the way I felt. The pain in my body, the heaviness on my shoulders, the sadness in my heart of creating something that didn't match my natural state of being. I didn't know that at the time. But what happened is I gave birth to my second son on September the 9th. And at 3:30 p.m., 3 hours after that, I reached out to get my lip balm out of my purse. And my business card fell on the bed. I grabbed the business card to just place it back in my purse. But something happened. I picked it up and I just looked, I was just staring at it. And what I was staring at in that moment, I had this greatest epiphany. And I thought, oh my God, like this business card is defining how I show up in the world. It's defining who I am. It's defining what label I carry to validate my self-worth. And suddenly I had this epiphany and I'm like, oh my God. But it got worse. It was like this movie appeared in front of my eyes. And then I realized the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth was that I was looking for validation from my parents to say, oh, Mary, we're so proud of you, even though you didn't finish your degree. Can you believe it, Kate? So 2 weeks after that, I had a meeting with my accountant, and I knew the day that I left that hospital bed that I would resign from my own company. I was done. I knew I was destined for something completely different to what I was doing. I wasn't afraid to leave, Kate. This was the crazy thing. Just to give you context, this company was turning over multiple seven figures. I had a full on infrastructure, employees, lots of clients. I mean, think about it. You can't just leave a corporate. I mean, it was a full on company. And
Right.
so my accountant says to me, so I had a meeting with my accountant and I said, I'm going to resign from my own company. And he starts laughing. You've got hormonal, imbalance at the moment because you've just given a baby. And I'm like, oh, no. I don't have hormonal issues. Trust me. This is a soul issue. This is not a hormonal issue. Anyway, and I said, I need to get rid of this company. I cannot stay here for one more day. Anyway, thankfully, we merged it with another company. But January 2012, until the end of that year, that whole year, I took a full year sabbatical. The first time in my adult life, I never worked. But I had two amazing mentors. One was a professor in philosophy, and the other one was an academic in the emotional body. And I also did quantum medicine for 12 months at Quantum University, just to understand and give context of who am I? What is my purpose? What am I doing here? And that was the context of getting the professor in philosophy. But oh my God, Kay, I changed my whole life in that year, like quite literally changed my life. And that's why I say, for me, intimacy is protecting my mind and my soul at all costs, because I truly, truly believe in that. And that's the backstory. And it took me, a long time to really decide which direction I wanted to go. But also, because I come from a tech background, I really wanted to build out a system. I didn't want to just become a coach and just push information. I really wanted transformation. That was my absolute driver. And because I already had that inside of me, I recognize my natural state of being. I recognize my natural gifts and my natural talents, my passions, etc. And my skills, my learned knowledge. When I merged all of that together, I could see that I could solve a complex problem in the world. I started to create this beautiful system and online program, but it's not just an online program. It really is a system. It's a framework. It spits out deliverables and results and outcomes, and most importantly, transformation. It took me 3 years to design that. And so 2015 is when I launched my full-time coaching business, which is what I do today.
That is amazing. And that there was and I'm sitting here and I'm visualizing like this bow tie, right? There was a place, the wide part of the bow tie. This is where you were in, you building this amazing business. You're pumping out 7 and 8 figures. And then there came this point where you just took an intimate moment with yourself. That's that middle part of the bow tie. And you said, you know what? I can't keep living waiting for this thing from my past. I need to move forward and live for what I want, need, and desire for now. Especially, I just brought another life into the world. And then you come out on the other side of the bow tie with the other side. Oh my gosh, I literally visualized that.
Wow.
So, listening to what you said, you were still waiting for that validation. Growing up, there were some, I guess, kind of tough times growing up with a narcissistic mother.
Yes.
And how did you survive that and still was able to come to that point? Where is it the children that you had? What it was that? How did you get to that intimate moment after that? And how were you able to just channel all of those emotions that were bottled up into your superpower?
Kate, that is such an important question that you've asked me. And I love your analogy of the bow tie. That is absolutely perfect. You nailed it. But, I was raised with a serial narcissistic mother. She wasn't even just a narcissistic. We're talking serial, right? On a whole new level. And I escaped the trauma, even though the trauma was trapped in my body. I escaped the trauma that was in my energy field by living mostly in my imagination as a kid and as a teenager. And also, my voice is professionally trained from the age of 5, and until the age of 20. So that was my escapism. That was the way that I expressed the emotion, if you will, that was trapped in my body through singing, or through visualization, living literally in this place that doesn't exist in reality, as in physical. It existed in my imagination reality. And so it also established an extremely strong resilience in me, really strong. And I think that's why I'm so naturally tenacious, because of what I endured. But as an adult, I was a walking trauma machine waiting to explode, and I didn't think that I didn't realize that, until I started getting some serious mentoring, like really serious mentoring, and started to recognize that, a large proportion of who I am is just blocked. I'm not free. My soul is not free yet. I haven't activated that true creativity that lies within, and where I can touch other people. But my mentor always says to me, you are your own shaman, you are your own healer. There is no one outside of you that can heal you. You are the one that can only heal your trauma, because we're all walking traumas. It's how you deal with that matters. That's what really matters. And So it's taken a long time, Kay, to really recognize, the first of all, the trauma, to work through the trauma, and to come out the other end. And this is really interesting, to be able to look back at my past and not make judgment or have hate or even fear or sadness toward that experience, but rather I look at that and I say to myself, oh my God, how lucky am I that actually I had a mother that was in so much pain and stayed in that pain to allow me to rise, shine like a diamond and find this strength and this inner path in myself where I truly understand the power of my mind, its connection to my body and my soul. And and that for me is mastery. I cannot stress that enough. Like, I have spent years, and it's still till this day, nothing has changed. It is the three aspects of myself that I cannot say to you I've mastered, but my goal is to fully, fully, fully self-actualize that aspect of myself. And I have the most incredible mentors who guide me through that process. So it's giving my past a different meaning rather than it pulling me back. It's see, because I've been able to give it a new meaning, my future's pulling me forward. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. That you dug into yourself. You kept the finger from doing this, because the only one that you can heal, control, or anything is yourself. And so you took that, had that, intimate moment with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
sought out the support,
Mm-hmm.
but that was only when you were able to come to that realization that, oh my gracious, I am filled, these shoulders are filled with trauma. There are some things happening.
Yes.
Do you know when you were able to get to that point of realization? Because it's difficult for some people to know that there's even anything going on. Did you look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm not me anymore? What was that defining moment?
Oh my God. I absolutely remember that defining moment. And I will tell you that I was having a shower and I got out of the shower, Kate, and this is so weird and surreal and scary at the same time. I got out of the shower, my hair was almost stuck together and I could not put a comb through it. Okay, I don't know what was happening, but it was so weird that I got out of the shower and it was like everything about me was falling apart. It's the only way I can describe it. But my hair, my hair, and I'm like, what is happening here? I went back in the shower, put literally a whole bottle of conditioner in there to try and just ease the pain and detangle it. Anyway, eventually I did detangle it with all this hair with this chunk of hair that just came out. But I sat in front of the mirror. We had a full length mirror in our bathroom. And I just sat in front of that mirror, with just a towel around me. I was soaking wet. I sat on my knees and I just stared directly into my eyes. Isn't it? Even as I tell you this story, I have goosebumps. And I cried, Kay, for maybe, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 hours. I have no idea. I just cried. I just kept staring at myself in the mirror and crying with so much pain. I was in so much pain, just asking God, what is happening to me? What, help me, show me why is this happening to me? That was the beginning of the trauma. That's actually when it was in that moment that it just hit me and it just could not hide anymore. That was my truth, Kate. That was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I couldn't hide anymore, essentially, because my body couldn't cope anymore. And that was the starting point. That was when I realized, okay, I've got to really get serious here. There's something wrong. And as I said, thankfully, I had the right mentors to guide me. And go figure how I knew intuitively to get a mentor who was an expert in the emotional body. It all happened because somebody recommended that I read Dr. Candace Pert's book, Molecules of Emotion. And
Mhm.
that book was the sliding door moment, because I recognized, oh wow, I'm carrying some serious debris in my body called emotions, and I need to figure out how to process this. So I got the right help, and and I think that was a very defining moment that I will never forget.
That is amazing. So you went through your own transformational moment yourself. And to me, when it comes to, finding that coach or that mentor, that person that can walk you through something, because it's one of those things you really can't describe, you
Mm-hmm.
having gone through it, that is what makes the difference in you being someone's transformational coach versus someone who just has the formal education
Yeah.
plus personal experience. I think that's just amazing. And while you were talking about just in that state of being. And so, what is your perspective on doing and being as two different things?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Where do we start? Um, well, the state of being is who you are at a complete soul level. I mean, that is the truth of who you are. And it's a combination of your soul. It is your soul print, which is a combination of your natural gifts, your natural talents, your natural passions, your natural tendencies, your personality, all of these things to me is who I am in my being state. I show up and I have no self interest. There's no ego driving the beingness of who I am. On the other hand, the doingness, and by the way, we do need both, right? It's just that we've been programmed to show up in the world as doing, busy. But really, when you think about that breakdown, the doingness really, it always comes down to feeding, or not so much feeding, worshiping the ego, but it's always comes down to self-interest. Think about this. And it's such a difference between the two, because when you're doing, oh, I've got so much social media content to create, for Instagram and Facebook, and I'm busy, doing, but you're doing all of that out of self-interest, because I need to be seen, I need to be heard, I need to be famous. It's all out of self-interest. And this is the part about doing that's so dangerous. It has an end of life because it's not sustainable. However, if we balance them both out, let's say beingness is your feminine power, doingness is your masculine power. The doingness for me in my program is all of the implementation. It has to be done. It has to be physically done. You have to physically take action to do the doing. The being is how you show up. The being is the delivery. The being is being in the presence of another soul and having the capacity to serve that person through your truth. And so that's the difference from my perspective between the two.
That is a beautiful breakdown. And I'm hoping that, someone that's listening today and even in the future will be able to, rewind this a couple times if you need to, and just really listen to that doing and being. And I love how you put it, because we do need that balance of feminine and masculinity. It's in us all, but we're taught, like you said, that if you're a woman, you have to have all of this, and if you're a man, you have to have all of this, and we're not
Right.
truly taught that amazing balance. You have amazing programs and systems. I think it's great. You have that IT background and you have that personal experience plus this life experience. What are those programs that you would like to let our audience know about, and how can our audience get in contact with you if they would like to work with you or get up into some of your programs?
Oh my God. Anyone that is a holder of wisdom you are my tribe, and it's such an important part of, the people I work with. Anyone that is listening to this that considers themselves an industry expert, or you've accumulated 20, 30 years in your area of specialization, I have a mastermind program called Lights, Cameras, Action. And we actually go through the whole process from defining your brand, defining your actual solution, your signature solution. We define and create all of your digital assets, wrap that all around with layered lead generation strategies, organic layered lead generation strategies. And one of the most important parts in my coaching program is the embodiment work that we do. And I bring a lot of energetics into that because, again, it comes back to that beingness. Once you've implemented, you've done all you're doing, then you have to become it. And this is the part that so many people forget. They're like, but I've done this. I've got a website. I've got a program. I've got this and nothing's working. Yes, because you have to become it. And there is a way that I teach that as well. And I am passionate, absolutely driven by human transformation. So for me, that's the outcome. That's what I'm looking for. And that program is a 12-month mastermind supported with twice a week group coaching. Of course, I do a done-for-you solution as well. So if anyone wants to work with me one-on-one, that's also available as well. And soon we're launching another program called the Hero Program Accelerator, where I just teach people how to create their signature solution and how to launch a beta version of it, which is amazing. It's 18 steps. It's very intense. And so if anyone wants to get in touch with me, please, please, please email me, mary@maryhendersoncoaching.com. Go to my website, maryhendersoncoaching.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram @maryhendersoncoaching.
I appreciate you so much for sharing your personal story, your business story, and just your morning with us, because again, you're in the future with us.
I
So
am.
thank you so much. I really enjoy hearing all about you. And thank you for being our guest today. And for our audience, we will be right back. Thank you again, Mary.
Thanks, Kate.
Sex should not be the elephant in the room. The fourth ebook of the Improving Intimacy book series, From Bringing Intimacy Back, It's All About Sex, helps you navigate every which way you can tend to your sex life. Pulling out all the stops, dive into the central read about sex toys, silky linens, and date nights. Improving Intimacy, It's All About Sex is available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and paperback. Search Dr. April Brown on Amazon to view all her books on improving intimacy for yourself, spouse, and more.
Well, welcome back to Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real. What an amazing show. Amazing stories. Listen, if you're catching the tail end of this, you definitely want to rewind back and you want to share it with other people, because you never know who may need the messages that were shared here today. And we do have some more upcoming shows for you. So on next week, March 30th, we have Love is Not a Transaction with Kim Sorrell. On April the 6th, which kicks off some people's spring break, we're going to be talking about spring break sneaky links. Me and Dr. April will be talking about that. On April the 13th, we're going to be talking about intimacy with spirit, self, and loved ones with Blair Abbey. And then on April the 20th, we're going to talk about spiritual intimacy with Dr. April and myself. We talked a little bit, we touched a little bit on that today. Again, Mary's story has some spiritual aspects in it, and you can feel as you're watching it, you can feel that radiate through the screen. So that was amazing. So I appreciate you all for being with us again this week. And remember, you can follow us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Clubhouse. So make sure that you're following and or subscribe to us. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. And if you have any questions about the show, feel free to drop those in the comments, and we will do our best to get those answers back to you. So give us good ratings and make sure you're back here next week. This has been Bringing Intimacy Back where intimacy is real. See you guys later.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real. You can also find us at bringingintimacyback.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Dr. April Brown's 7-book series, Improving Intimacy, is now on Amazon. We'll see you next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe.